So I've been really excited to record this video because this is my fastest culture victory ever. And I did it with Russia, who is very overpowered, has bonuses to faith. Just the Lavra goes brrr, if you know what I'm saying. So, um, Russia's abilities, the ones I used this game, were the +1 faith and +1 production from Tundra tiles. This enabled an early Pantheon, which allowed me to grab the Dance of the Aurora Pantheon and use that for work ethic. So that was huge. And then obviously the Lavra. I think I was ahead of everyone in science and culture, so this didn't um, help me that much. But so the Lavra is very powerful, one of the best districts in the game, certainly the best holy site in the game. So we've got it's cheaper, so I think it's half price, so you can get it down faster than any other civilization. And your border grows by 1 tile. Russia's borders are already really big. He gets twice as many tiles on settling cities, which is really powerful. You also get great writer, great artist, and great musician points from all of your Lavras. I think I have 7 of them this game, so that's 7 of these great people points. Um, that's very strong. That enables you to get an ancient era great writer, which I was able to do this game. I've never done that before. Um, and I put it in the palace in the old god obelisk that I had in my capital, so I was able to make use of that ancient era great writer. So the map settings for this map were a standard map, which means 8 civs. This is a Highlands map. This is my first time ever playing the Highlands map, and there are a lot of hills on the Highlands map. One of the biggest challenges on the Highlands map is being able to move around, but as I'll go over in a minute, I had a way around that that didn't involve trade routes. So most of the time you really have to focus on building roads between your cities so you can move your units around, but I have a way around that. So I'd like to go over the things that helped me get this really fast culture win. I won on turn 150. This is the one more turn screen, so this is the turn after I won. I think my other fastest culture victory was a Gorgo game where I won on like 210 or 220, so this is considerably faster. But I played really well. I didn't realize that this was going to be my fastest culture win ever until I really got the Lavras rolling and I was making an absurd amount of faith, so I also lucked out with a couple other things, so let's go over them. Russia gets insane bonuses to faith, so I'm making a ridiculous amount of it. Here's the Empire map lens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holy sites that are all at least +6 adjacency. Got a +9 here. I also took the work ethic founder belief. Here's my religion. Work ethic gives bonus production, and I also have the scripture card plugged in, which doubles the adjacency. So if I hover over holy site, this is my best one. I'm making 18 faith and 18 production in Novigrad from just the holy site. So that can be extremely powerful. That's what enabled me to get 4 wonders in the capital. I'm working on the 5th, the Mont Saint Michel here. And the build order was the Oracle first, which couples with the Grants promotion to quadruple all the great people points in that city. So that means from the Lavra, a district that is supposed to only give you great prophet points, which is converted to faith after all the prophets are taken, I'm actually making 4 great writer, great artist, and great musician points out of this Lavra. And that's not counting the theater square. So I get 2 great writer points from the amphitheater, which gets quadrupled to 8. So I'm making 8 great writer points from that. So pretty insane. I also have the great library, which I'm pretty sure gives you great writer points as well. So I'm making an absurd amount of great writer points here in my capital. You can actually see I got the Oracle down before I revealed Iron. So that was pretty fun to do there. I went the Oracle, the Great Library, St. Basil's, and the Kotoku Inn. Kotoku Inn didn't help me that much. I mainly built it just for the buff to faith. I anticipated keeping a lot of relics in my capital late game, and the Kotoku Inn are gonna increase the faith that those give by 20%. So I typically always build a Kotoku Inn in the city with either the Great Bath or the city where I centralize all my relics. So, which is always the St. Basil's Cathedral city. It makes sense to put a lot of faith in the city that you're going to be increasing by a certain amount. Um, so faith obviously helped this game. You need faith to buy naturalists. If you have some cheeky way of getting to the conservation civic that allows you to buy naturalists to create national parks, you really don't even need culture to win a culture game. You just need faith. Um, Unfortunately, you do need culture to be able to get to conservation, so you got to figure out how to do that. Um, Production is the most valuable resource in the game, um, because production is what allows you to get all of the other yields. So for this game, the way I got production was through the work ethic belief. Work ethic is really strong, just across the board. I also love reliquaries as my founder belief, if I'm playing someone who has bonuses to relics. But I wanted to try this work ethic this game. So the early Pantheon, like I said, when I settled St. Petersburg, I get the +1 faith from Tundra tiles. I worked this dye tile, which was 2 food, 2 production, 1 faith early game. So I was making 2 faith in my capital from turn 1, which allowed me to get a faster Pantheon than any other civ. So that's what allowed me to get that. My other beliefs were Holy Order. I planned on converting a lot of cities this game, and I'll tell you why in a minute. That's why I bought that. Um, Tithe, I wasn't planning on building very many gold districts this game, but Tithe is extremely strong. Um, I mean, I'm making almost 500 gold per turn. I guarantee most of that is from, yeah, about half of it is uh, from cities. So, kind of nuts. Making 250 from national parks. Wonder how that works. No, I'm making 114 from beliefs. Anyways, in the mid game, you convert all your cities. There's a weird spot in the mid game where you've got a lot of infrastructure down, maybe a lot of units, and you're sucking gold, and you haven't started building those gold districts yet. And tithe becomes available at about that time, so you can continue to make good gold during that. You continue to have a flourishing economy even during that, hard economic time. For my last belief, I picked cathedrals. I could have picked mosques for extra spreads, but um, I anticipated making a lot of great artist points. Most of the great artists that come available first are religious great artists, so I do like to pick this one if I have a religion in a cultural game. So it did help a little bit. I was able to move some of my religious works of art um, into those the cathedrals. And it also helps, like in the Pingala city, where you get double tourism from great works of art, to have a cathedral. That way you get double tourism from it. A small optimization, but maybe one of the other beliefs would have been better. But uh, I just like the idea of a cathedral as well. So Secret Society, I am playing with that on. I'm also playing with Dramatic Ages on as well. So my Secret Society was the Void Singers. Obviously, I'm making a ridiculous amount of faith per turn. The ritual promotion converts 20% of my faith per turn to gold, science, and culture. I'm making 400 faith per turn, which means that 80, making 80 gold, um, 80 science, and 80 culture off my faith income. So that's an extremely powerful promotion. I feel like everybody knows about the Void Singer's ability to do this, but it is really powerful. I really picked it for initiation because of the Old God Obelisk, which gives you a uh, great work slot in all of your cities right off the bat if you can get the monument replacement down. So, and during that time where I was making so many great people points off the Lavras and I hadn't got all my amphitheaters down yet, I did need a place to put some of those great riders. I do have several great works of writing this game. You can kind of see them. I have quite a few, actually. So, Void Singers are very strong. Um, so let's talk about how I went through the trees. The science tree. I started off with astrology, of course, to get the Lavra. That's the most important part of this strategy is Russia, so I had to get my Lavras down as early as possible so I can be generating that. I like to go for mining after because a lot of times where I want to put holy sites are covered up by mines. So my build order early game in my capital would have been a scout, settler, um, builder, and then holy site. And you chop the woods under the holy site a lot of times. So, um, then I wanted to unlock harbors because some of the tundra cities that I have needed food. So I did that, and then I beelined printing. Extremely important for cultural games. You want to double your tourism yields from great works of writing. So after I beeline printing, I pretty much didn't care about anything else. So I clicked on computers to get this 25% boost. And I almost made it before I won. So, as for the culture tree, my strategy with the culture tree in most of my games, no matter what victory condition I do, I play on a low difficulty so I don't need to rush craftsmanship to get the Agog card. Um, I notice people that play on higher difficulties pretty much have to do that. One of the reasons I like to play on lower difficulties is because it gives me more choices. I think it's a more fun way to play the game. Sometimes I like to take a challenge and I'll play on a higher difficulty, but most of the time I'm just trying to have fun. Uh, so I go for foreign trade first. I think it's easier to boost foreign trade, especially if you build a scout first. If you run your scout around long enough, you'll find another continent. Um, so I typically do that, and that leads to the settler card, which is the most important early game card. You can get out, your third and fourth cities that way pretty easily, because the settler production price does scale pretty insanely in the early game. So you kind of need that card in order to get more cities down. Then you double back. By this time, you've figured out where a good spot for the government plaza would be. So I just found that that build order or that research order seems to work pretty good for me. Then I went for recorded history. I was able to get the boost for recorded history, which is build 2 campus districts. I actually had to chop a wheat tile in order to get the population high enough after the Lavra to be able to build it in St. Petersburg. My other campus was actually built in Astrakhan, which was my third city. I'll get to why I settled St. Petersburg, Novigrad, and then Astrakhan way out here in just a second. So, after I got recorded history, I wanted the mausoleum, so I researched that, and then I clicked on theocracy. Beeline theocracy because I wanted to be able to save money on my purchases with faith. I was buying religious units, I was buying settlers and builders, so I was spending a lot of faith because I had a lot of faith. So I do want that 15% um, discount on purchases with faith. This is probably the first game I've ever played where I didn't unlock the Merchant Republic. The 10% gold in all cities with an established governor is very strong. That kind of helps out with that mid-game economic slump that I've talked about already. But I didn't unlock it this game because I was beelining conservation. After unlocking theocracy, I simply clicked on conservation and tried to boost every civic along the way. I was able to get colonialism's boost, which was have the astronomy technology. I stopped off for that. I didn't get any archaeological museums this game. I was making too many artist points, so I only built artist museums. Um, but yeah, I was able to get a great merchant as well. So I got conservation. I had builders in place when I unlocked conservation, planted woods, and put down as many naturalists as I could muster. So I had about 4,000 faith per turn, or 4,000 faith in the bank when I unlocked naturalist, and I bought one in every city, and then I bought one in every city again. And I was ready to go, and then I bought one every time that I could. I've got a pin here to show when where the next one would go when I unlocked it. So try to keep this video short. So the last thing I'd like to go over is the natural wonders that spawned with me in this game. Very important to my win condition. The first is the Matterhorn. The Matterhorn negates unit units ignore movement penalties on hills. This is a Highlands map. There's an absurd amount of hills. Because I had the Matterhorn, my religious units were able to run very fast. They could run 4 tiles at a time, and that was what enabled me to meet all of the civs and start generating tourism pressure against them. I also converted a bunch of their cities. The reason I did that was for the tithe belief. I get extra gold from it. And then I also was suzeraining Fez, which gives you science per population of the cities you convert. And to top it all off, the reason I settled Astrakhan was for this natural wonder right here, the Sripada. So religious units from any civilization that owns this tower receive culture upon converting a city to their religion for the first time. It's 75 culture apiece, and it works on your own cities. When you convert a city, you get 75 culture, and that was the reason that I was able to get conservation so quickly. That's that cheeky way of getting culture that I was talking about before. Now, this natural wonder isn't in Vanilla Civ. It's actually in this mod pack that I have, Terra Mirabilis. One of my favorite mod packs is just a bunch of new wonders with sometimes powerful abilities. So I really like it. It's one of my favorite mods that I have downloaded. So that's really how this game went. I'm making 500 tourism per turn, and the AIs that are in my game don't really have any bonuses to culture that have kicked in yet. Eleanor's probably not making enough great work points yet to start stealing cities, and um, so the Maya and Dido. Maya are tall. Sometimes you have trouble winning, making your culture dominant over tall civs. The Congo and the Cree are also problems with this, just because citizens emit a small amount of culture just per one that you have. So sometimes tall civs are hard to overcome. And then Dido was able to build more cities pretty much than any other AI. So more cities equals more culture. So I won with 100. What was it? 50? Just a cheap 55 tourists. That was all I needed to win this game. So let's just take a look again at my national parks. I have several of them. Here's the tourism lens, just as the last thing before I end the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 national parks. I'm also generating a lot from the St. Basil's Cathedral, which is stocked with relics because I'm suzerain of Candy. I also made a lot off those early game great works of writing. So, Holy City as well. Like that generated the most tourism pressure this game was out of my Holy City. So, religions can be very helpful towards tourism victory, especially if you're trying to win one quickly. So, all in all, Russian's pretty overpowered. His faith game is nuts, and the Matterhorn. I mean, no movement penalties on hills on a map where everybody else has to deal with them. That's huge. So, but thanks for watching. It was a great game.